If you're printing with translucent PLA or PETG, there are some settings you need to change in order to get much clearer results. In your slicer, firstly head to the filament settings. Here you'll want to increase the flow ratio slightly to 1.01. This can reduce the likelihood of under extrusion happening, which would hinder transparency. Next you should increase the nozzle temperature, as a higher printing temperature can also increase transparency. For translucent PLA this is 230 degrees, and for translucent PETG this should be 270 degrees. Next you should turn off the cooling fans to allow the model to cool naturally. You do this by setting the fan speeds to 0%. Likewise this should be done for the aux fan too for enclosed printers. You can save these settings or simply quit out of this menu. As for the printer settings, it's better to use a larger layer height and wider line widths. So it's better to use a 0.6 or 0.8mm nozzle. However, I'm just using the standard 0.4mm nozzle. For this I'll keep the standard layer height, but I'll increase all the line widths to 0.5mm. In the strength tab you should reduce the number of wall loops to 1, then set the number of top and bottom shell layers to 0. Essentially we want the sparse infill to be the only solid internal part. Speaking of which, we'll set the sparse infill density to 100%, and use a straight line infill pattern such as aligned rectilinear. Finally, you should set the infill direction to 0 degrees. If you can't see this option, you might have to toggle the advanced features at the top. Lastly, you want to slow the print right down by setting all the speeds to 20mm per second. This might seem extreme, but it does make a big difference to the transparency. Also, with the cooling fans switched off, it'll allow each layer to cool properly naturally. After slicing, you can see that this little test piece is going to take nearly 40 minutes to print, which might seem crazy long, especially in comparison to default settings, which only takes 13 minutes. However, it is a necessary trade-off for increasing the transparency of your prints. This comparison between the two settings is probably going to be difficult, but let's give it a go anyway. This one was printed with default settings, and because this model is really thin, you can still see through it quite well. However, I think the optimized version here is obviously more transparent, especially if you look at it at different angles. The camera probably isn't doing it much justice. Anyway, judge for yourself whether you think this is worth the extra print time or not. So thank you so much for watching, and make sure you like and follow for more 3D printing tips and tutorials.